News out of New Orleans, where with the nation's highest murder rate, the city is now considering imposing a very strict youth curfew. We're going to Cameron McWhirter. He is in Atlanta to bring us all the details. Hi there, Cam. We got you there, Cameron?
Yes,
great.
Hello.
Hi, Cameron. So tell us, New Orleans has obviously been buffeted by an incredibly high and rising murder rate. Tell us about this latest curfew that they're thinking about imposing.
Well, they're talking about expanding a curfew they currently have imposed in the French Quarter, where any child 16 and under would have to be in their homes by 8 p.m. every night of every day of the year. And they're thinking about rolling that out citywide.
How long has it been in place in the French Quarter and in these tourist areas?
Just a few weeks. They had a previous curfew that's been in existence since the 90s, but it was much more, it was a much looser curfew, and on weekends kids could stay out till 11, and they just think that it's in a way to restrict crime, to help kids from so they aren't harmed, and kids who are harming people, this would be a tool that the police could use.
Cameron, paint us a picture of the backdrop of the forces leading to this kind of curfew. New Orleans buffeted by crime. How severe is it?
It's one of those. I've covered crime in many cities, and there's always somebody in the city, in one of the political factions, who's always say, "Oh, it's not as bad as people say." I was just in New Orleans, and everybody said it's terrible. It's very scary. There was an incident recently where somebody pulled a gun on someone in the parking lot of a Whole Foods because of a parking dispute. I mean, people are very frightened. There's a lot of guns, a lot of people. The mayor is panicked.
And the mayor's called it, I believe, a culture of death there. I mean, those are very severe words.
Political leaders don't use the term culture of death a lot
right.
to describe their own jurisdiction.
No, it's not helpful for re-election. But in terms of statistics, back up some of these anecdotes that are horrific that you were just describing with where New Orleans and the city of New Orleans stands in crime and the murder rate in the United States.
Well, it's number one. According to the latest statistics from the FBI, it's the highest murder rate per capita of any major city in the country. In January, 25 people were killed in New Orleans. That's a lot of people in 1 month. Now, ironically, the violent crime rate is actually not that high relative to many other cities. And no one could really give me a good explanation for that, as to why the violent crime rate in New Orleans would be lower, and yet it has the highest murder rate by far in the country.
Cameron, I know there's mixed opinions on how well these curfews actually worked. Give us the flip side of what people are saying, those people who are opposed to it.
Well, groups like the ACLU of Louisiana and other child advocacy groups are saying that these curfews don't really do anything except punish people who happen to be teenagers. So if a teenager who's 16 wants to go on a date to the movies, they could be stopped by the police. So they think there are real constitutional issues here. And I wouldn't be surprised if it does pass. We're going to find out later this month if there'll be some legal challenges.